I'm from New York. I was raised here. I went to public school. I went to PS6. My dad still lives in the apartment I was raised in on the Upper East Side. My mom moved to California. I started modeling when I was 9 years old. I said to my mother, I really want to be discovered, Mom. And she said, well, that's not going to happen in the living room. So we went to a children's agency, and I did a lot of print work. I did Montgomery Ward catalog, JCPenney catalog, cereals and games and stuff like that. And then when I was in high school, I did a lot of hair shows. I got my hair cut like twice a week and did the shows for Vidal Sassoon and La Coupe, which was a famous place at the time. And then I went to Paris when I was 16 and wasn't very interested in hanging around in school. So came back and did more modeling, went to Japan and came back. And then I was going out with this guy he was a bass player, and he was also from New York. And we did a lot of hanging around. He played in clubs. I hung around him. We wore leather jackets. We rode on my motorcycle. We were very, very cool. And we were young and gorgeous. And we did a lot of hanging around. So I just started hanging around with him and not working at all. And then one day I woke up and I didn't have any money. And so I started doing other things. I did retail. I managed a chain of clothing stores on the West Side. And then the boyfriend and I broke up, but then then we got back together, and he got me, I think, basically into bartending and waitressing and things that make instant cash. And for me, that was great because I was still kind of keeping an eye on him. He was of dubious fidelity. And it's hard to disagree with a job where you walk in with no money and leave with lots of money. So I stuck around with that for a long time. I've done a lot of different things, had a lot of different boyfriends. My favorite thing is I love being in the city. I'm such a city girl. It's like, it's in my bones, it's in my blood. I don't know how to function. I really, honestly don't know how to function anywhere else because I can't drive a car. I don't know how to ride a bicycle, and I'm a poor swimmer. But I know where every CVS is, and the Chase banks, and I'm very good with convenience, and I have been in the West Village for the last at least 20 years or so. So I know my way around, and I love it here. But my favorite thing is getting out of the city also. It's sort of been my lifeline all these years. I had a summer house in Montauk for 5 years, and that was definitely the favorite time in my life. That was my favorite place to be, the ocean and the sand, and it was beautiful, but I could never see fit to extricate myself from New York City. It's all just me. It's all just work and money and convenience and my love of the streets and my love of the excitement and the way I like to live in an apartment, and I'm kind of a little nervous to live in a big house, and the way I get scared when it gets dark in the country at night. So I stayed here, and around 2000, I decided I was going to quit bartending and get a proper day job like everybody else. And that was a complete disaster. I woke up in the morning for 3 years every day and cried. I'm not set for a 9-to-5 job. I just wished for the weekend every day, and then the weekend was spent drinking and doing laundry, and I still don't understand how people live that way. It's just beyond me. I kind of feel like a little bit of a misfit. I'm just not set up for regular life. I don't know how to even really be social with friends. For me, the bar was an easy solution because I could have my friends come visit me, and I could be social without actually having to go out and meet them and, make a date and do all these things that people do, because I think I'm basically a little bit of a loner and a little bit of a misanthrope in some ways. So this was a way to get me out without having to take responsibility for it and also earn money at the same time. So after video and film post-production, which was kind of tanked by what happened in 2001 anyway, that business, I went back to the bar. And that was summarily unsatisfying. And I went back to, with the freedom of time that I got from going back to the bar, I went back to my yoga practice, which I'd started in 1998, and kind of as exercise, right? You go because you want to stretch and be fit. And when I went back, I was like, okay, I want to stay here. I want to be like these people. There are questions I've had throughout my whole life that are being answered right now. Like suddenly something made sense after nothing made sense for so long. You know, I don't understand the nature of life. I don't understand why people do the things they do. I don't understand why they chase the things they chase. I don't understand people in a lot of ways, but I did understand the idea of enlightenment. That sounded good to me. So I started seriously pursuing the yoga practice, and of course ultimately pursuing a yoga teaching and also Dharma practice. I get very absorbed into Tibetan Buddhism, and still am, and now I teach yoga. I've been teaching since 2008. I love it. I love the students. I love the places I teach. I love the lights that go on in their eyes when they hear the truth the same way it did with me. You know, and I don't mean to sound kind of like a born-again Christian or something, like, oh, it's the truth, you know, God's telling you the truth. You know, the truth is that there is a sense, right? There is something that makes sense in life. It's not just a random compilation of events, and it's not just a sort of graspy hell realm here on earth, which is what it seems to be sometimes. You know, there is an order to things. It's called karma, but you can call it whatever you want. It's, you know, the enlightenment principle, whatever it is. But there is an order to things, and I do believe that, and that helps me a lot. So I have been teaching yoga for a long time, and I love it, and I hope to always do it. You know, I love everything involved with it. I love creating sequences that are interesting. I love making playlists that are fun. I don't love that it's hard to make a living doing it, and it's resulted in my running around like a crazy person in New York a lot. I am still bartending sometimes, and that's how I met David and came to be here in this chair. I dream of a day when things are more serene and I have more time to do my own practice. I like to meditate. I like to do my own yoga practice. I like to have a nice clean space in my house. I have 2 beautiful cats that I love like human children. And I hope to somehow create a lifestyle for myself where I can cultivate these things and cultivate life and get myself back out of the city and to the beach again in the future. You know, right now, the last year has just been a treadmill of running from place to place, getting the work done, and, you know, keeping my head above water. And I hope to, instead of keeping my head above water, someday learn to fly. So that's the story.